Welcome to the regular council meeting of Tuesday, October 21st, 2025 at 4:50 PM in council chambers and via Zooms. Item number 1 is call to order and a moment of silence. Item number 2, we acknowledge that the town of Kirkland Lake is located on traditional and unceded territory of Indigenous people. We recognize the presence of Indigenous people in our community since time immemorial and honor their stewardship and care of these lands. We hereby affirm our continued commitment to reconciliation. Item number 3, approval of the agenda, moved by Janice Ranger and seconded by Casey Owens.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025 be approved as circulated and amended.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 4, declaration of pecuniary interest. None noted at the table. Item number 5 is civic petitions. There are none this evening. Item number 6 is delegations and presentations. We will welcome Tech Centennial Public Library Action and Statistical Report, which will be delivered by Cheryl Brenny, Library Chief Executive Officer, moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the presentation entitled Tech Centennial Public Library Action and Statistical Report be received for information purposes.
Thank you. Welcome, Cheryl. How are you this evening?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having
Good.
me.
Absolutely. You may begin.
Okay, we do have a slide that somebody to come up. So that is our, this is a quarterly report from June, July, August, and end of September, just to show you how busy we've been during those 4 months. So first I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity for me to come and speak with you. October is Canadian Library Month, and the week of October 19th to the 25th is Ontario Public Library Week. And during this time, libraries and library partners across Canada raise awareness of the valuable role libraries play in the lives of Canadians, including those in our community. So the Tech Centennial Public Library has been a cornerstone of Kirkland Lake for generations. But this past summer proves once again that the library is not only relevant, it's essential. So between June and September, over 11,200 people have walked through our door. That's an average of 137 visitors every single day. In that same time, our community borrowed 15,115 items, and we welcomed 2,379 program attendees across 95 programs. So just remember, that's only 4 months. Those numbers are impressive on their own, but they are more remarkable when you consider that during this period, the library was closed for nearly 2 full weeks due to unexpected roof damage and several additional days for statutory holidays. Even with those interruptions, the community's engagement remained strong and unwavering, and that speaks volumes about what this library means to the people of Kirkland Lake. Our reach continues to grow. As of September alone, the library had 2,378 active borrowers. That's nearly 30% of the entire Kirkland Lake population. In other words, 1 in 3 residents directly uses their library. Few municipal services can claim that kind of reach, diversity, or impact. But behind these statistics are stories and people. They represent the parents who bring their children to story time because they can't afford paid programs, but still want to nurture and love a love of reading. They represent teens who come in after school for safety, friendship, and a sense of belonging. They represent seniors who visit for companionship, conversation, and connection to their community, sometimes the only human contact that they have that day. They represent job seekers using our public computers to find employment, and the 97 residents who received one-on-one tech help this summer to access government services, fill out forms, or learn to use their devices. They represent students attending free tutoring sessions, 49 in English and 54 in French, and adults pursuing education or skills development later in life. They represent newcomers and immigrants who come to the library to improve their English, apply for work, and feel welcome in their new community. And they even represent those who simply need to send a fax. That may sound small, but it matters more than most people realize. The library is the last place in town where a resident can send a fax. And yes, people still need to, because many government forms, housing applications, and healthcare documents still require a fax. For security reasons. For those without internet access or expensive technology, our library is their only link to essential services. Every day, our staff helps residents navigate those systems patiently, respectfully, and with compassion. This is what we mean when we say libraries change lives. When you support your library, you're investing in far more than books. You're investing in literacy, in digital access, in youth development, in senior wellness, and in community connection. A strong library builds a strong town. And a council that supports its library sends a clear message that you believe in opportunity, equity, and the long-term health of Kirkland Lake. Every new library card, and 116 were issued this summer, represents a resident who feels connected, included, and hopeful. With every program, every visitor, every small act of kindness that happens inside our walls builds community resilience. Libraries have one of the highest return on investment of any public service. For every dollar spent, communities gain multiple dollars back in educational value, workforce readiness, mental health support, and civic pride. Libraries are not an expense, but an investment in the well-being, reputation, and future of Kirkland Lake. Because when your library thrives, our people thrive. When our people thrive, our town grows stronger. And when council invests in that, you're not just funding a building, you're funding the heartbeat of the community. Thank you. So I just wanted to read, because it's Ontario Public Library Week, we have several activities happening this week. There's a scavenger hunt. We have a couple of silent auctions. We have draws for just walking through our doors. You can sign up for a draw. And then we also just have these sheets that just says, like, we'd love to hear what you think of our library. And so one of them says that the library has been an integral part of the success of KL Pride. Allowing the use of computer time, printing, and resources has allowed our budding group to gain momentum within our community. Not to mention the support, advice, and smiling faces that greet me each and every day. I am here to work or to do work on projects. Without the library, we wouldn't be where we are today, growing and glowing. And then another one was just very simple and to the point. And it just says, the library saved my life. I mean, you can't get any more heartfelt than that. So it just goes to show you that public libraries are very important. And I think, our community shows.
Any questions for clarification or comments? Councillor Owen?
Yes, through you, your worship. I must admit, I'm not in the one, but in the two that don't use the library. But I did need the library when I was doing the fire safety plan for Trinity United Church. Because the diagrams to show the exits have to be laminated. And someone said to me, go to the library, they provide that service. So they are helping keep other places, well, Trinity United Church safer. And they're providing service at a very reasonable rate that, churches and other groups can use. And I must admit, I am shocked by these numbers in a good way, in a very good way. So,
We're more than just books.
Yes. but the laminating service, I had to throw that in, and it does add to the safety of the community, because now we are compliant with the fire code.
Brilliant. Any further comments or questions? Councillor Shabbat?
Yeah, to you, worship. Thank you very much. And, every time people come and visit me from out of town, a day or two after that, they wanted to go to the library. So I had a friend not too long ago, came from British Columbia, and he's in the process of writing a book about Swastika Trina Street.
Oh, okay.
And he went to the library. You met, some of you guys met the guy too. He was very, very impressed. He used to live there too, by the way, before he moved out to BC. It was very impressed with the library, was very impressed with the setup and all of that stuff. But my question to you is that, how easy is it to find past information about Kirkland Lake going through the library? Is it a lot easier now compared to when I was going to another club with the microfiche? You turn,
Well, we
turn
still
and turn.
have that service. Yeah, no, it is a lot easier.
He complimented you guys, but that's one of his complaints that, maybe we improve on that a little bit. And I know her, I'll let her know, maybe we have to do fundraising too.
Yeah, no, we've actually, we've worked on that, yeah, we've now come out of the dark ages
Okay.
and we have everything, yeah, we have computer and it's easier to send, it's easier, you can save everything on a thumb drive, yeah, so we've come a long way.
Anything further from members of council? No, thank you very much for bringing this report to us today. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Oh, okay.
I believe Counselor Charlie is now joining us.
Oh, okay, thank you. Our second item, for delegation has been moved to a future meeting. So moving on to item number 7, approval and acceptance of minutes. Item number 7.1, council minutes moved by Counselor Owen and Counselor Shava.
Be it resolved that council approve the minutes of the following meeting, minutes of the regular meeting of council held Tuesday, October 7th, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item 7.2, local and regional committee boards minutes moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Casey Owens.
Be it resolved that council receive the minutes of the following meetings. Minutes of the Kirkland Lake District Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors held February 11th, 2025, March 10th, 2025, March 31st, 2025, and April 15th, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 8, reports from municipal officers and staff. 8.1, supplemental Kirkland Lake Area Airport future direction. This will be presented by Alan Smith, CAO, moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Owen.
Be it resolved that report number 2025 CAO 14 entitled some. I probably for the secondary.
Counselor Rickon.
Moved by Counselor Janice Ranger, seconded by Counselor Rick Owen, be it resolved that report number 2025 CAO 14 entitled supplemental Kirkland Lake Airport future direction be received. And that a formal request for expression of interest in RFEOI be issued to invite proposals for the future use or redevelopment of the municipal airport lands in accordance with the regulatory requirements and best practices outlined in the report. And that the submissions received from the RFEOI be presented in closed session to allow for direction on any negotiations if applicable. And finally, that a public meeting be scheduled at the call of the mayor to allow council to receive comments on the future direction of the Kirkland Lake Airport prior to a service level change occurring.
Thank you. Certainly proceed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, to members of council. So as CAO, I'm responsible for the operations of the corporation, which also means is also my responsibility to make sure that the goals contained within the corporate strategic plan are met. One of which includes exploring alternatives for non-core services, which may include divestment or changes to operating models. This is the priority for my office. Last year, council divested the museum. A local group of residents formed a not-for-profit corporation and preserved the Sir Harry Oaks facility and continued the museum operations. This year, TPR, another non-core service, is undertaking an operational review with the intention of finding ways to improve efficiency, realizing better cost savings, identify revenue opportunities. However, core services are also under review. An operational review of the Public Works Winter Maintenance Program will be undertaken to explore ways of enhancing service delivery and operating models. Airport operations are also under review also. and is a non-core service like the museum and TPR. For several years, the future of the airport has been debated, as highlighted in the 2021 council report, which is contained within the report this evening. A number of options in that report was presented to council's information, however, no action has transpired since then. However, action is now required. The airport is not considered a core municipal service and serves a limited number of users, including declining medevac, charter, and corporate flights, underscoring the need to reconsider this operation. The 2021 council report and the report before council this evening makes reference to a number of options or alternatives to be considered, such as selling the airport through direct negotiation with developers, internal municipal redevelopment, immediate sale without public process, maintaining the status quo, and seasonal closures were considered but not recommended due to transparency issues, financial risk, or operational concerns. Now, I want to touch base and really focus on the financial aspect of airport operations. Operating expenses for the airport continue to be a concern. However, what is most concerning is the future capital costs that will be required. The runway alone is projected to require replacement within the next few years, an estimated cost of $5 million. This is in our asset management plan. According to asset management plan, we're actually coming to the end of the life of that. Additional capital needs such as fuel tank remediation replacement, airfield lighting upgrades, hangar door replacements, the equipment replacements, plow truck, loader, snow blower. This push the total cost beyond $7 million within the next 10 years, maybe sooner. Given the significant investment that is required in the town's core services like infrastructure, roads, stormwater, fire services, for example, making these improvements for the airport is not financially prudent, while the core areas of operations need to be the town's focus, as highlighted in the town's corporate strategic plan. It is the administration's opinion that council considers divestment of the airport. In other words, selling the airport lands. However, this will be done through the issuing of a request for expression of interest to invite proposals for future use of redevelopment of the municipal airport lands, aiming to explore all potential options transparently and inclusively. A price would not be mentioned, as we do not want to restrict or confine the creative process. This is an avenue to obtain proposals from a variety of parties. There might be parties that might want to purchase the lands for the continued use of an airport, while others might propose creative development ideas for council's consideration. Again, this process is to see if there is actual interest in the purchase of the airport lands. Following the request for expression of interest, submissions will be received in closed session of council, as negotiations among the parties needs to take place confidentially. And a public meeting will be scheduled to gather community input before council decides on any service level changes. There is, of course, the possibility that the request for expression of interest may not generate proposals that are of interest to council, or you might even have no proposals submitted. That might happen. In those cases, we will have to revisit the remaining options of potentially closing the airport or decommissioning, which is an expensive undertaking. Answer any questions. Also online is Director Fortain, who will help me in answering. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Councillor Casey Owens?
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. I think the numbers in this report clearly justify us going down this direction, even outright. I don't know if that's a discussion for tonight or later, but just simply closing the airport, I think when you get even the medevacs are below not even half of what they were last year, like we need to seriously consider closing the airport. That being said, the elephant in the room on this one, when we talk about redevelopment, is the taxation issue out there. There's no way I would agree to sell this land as a council member at 35 cents on the dollar for taxation. So I think we, as a council, we need to have an unpleasant conversation about going down the road of implementing full taxation for the services the residents out there get before we can even talk about redevelopment.
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor. Yes, that is an issue. That is being brought up with the next staff, and it's something that we'll be looking into.
Follow up?
Yeah, I hate asking the question this way, but when? Like, and I don't wanna put any staff member on the spot. But now we're asking to redevelop and going issuing a ROF, whatever the letters are. It's been an issue for years in the town of Kirkland, and I know I'm going to get emails, I'm gonna be accosted at Tim Hortons, and I'm gonna make really, really good friends on this one. But to me, the level of, and I know it's not a discussion, the level of service is exactly the same, so, except for garbage. Before I can agree to redevelopment or going down the road of redevelopment, we need a timeline, I think.
But the treasures into this, but also do understand the connection between both.
To you, Madam Mayor, Councilor. So I've started the process of finding out how we can address both the 35% rate that's in the Bernard Morissette area. And also our industrial rate system, which is broken down right now by a $2.5 million cutoff. The skill set to address that isn't mine, and it can't be found locally. So we've identified somebody who's gonna kind of help us with options and directions and stuff. It'll come back to you, I would expect early in the new year. There's a process that they need to walk through to, they like to have a lockdown assessment to start the process. So you'll see something in the new year, hopefully very early in the new year. To give you what kind of options you have to address both of those scenarios. It'll be entirely up to council at that point, what direction they wanna go. But you'll have some better understanding and what directions we could take depending on your direction as council.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
Councillor Shabba?
Yeah, through you, the worship, maybe I'm missing something here, and I appreciate Councillor being thinking ahead. But I think the issue tonight is really for us to get this information and then maybe decide on what to do. And that issue to me is specific to the airport. And maybe I'm wrong. This is about the airport. As to the dispensation or selling of it at any rate, whatnot, I think that would be for another day, in my view. So you're telling us, these are all the numbers. Options are there. So, and again, I appreciate the numbers can not lie. But I think the focus should really be one step at a time to look at the issue of the airport, what to do with it. And then when it comes down to maybe whatever option that we'll choose, then we can talk about the sale at what particular rate, at not what particular rate. The issue of the resident of that area, I don't know how that should be linked to this for me at this particular time. So that's just my, thank you.
Councillor Owen?
Yes, through you, your worship. I fully support doing something with the airport. The issue in terms of taxes, well, you've got to let the proponent of any proposal know that the tax, at very least, that the taxes in that area is under review by staff. Because you can't sell them something or whatever happens and withhold that information, because it would make a drastic difference to that property. So I see these two issues as being very much tied together. And I also see the fact that the tax issue is there. It's going to make it much more difficult to get proposals to do something, because who's going to invest hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars and not know what their tax rate's gonna be. So I think you have a difficult job. I'm glad that we're seeing movement, and I'm glad that we're seeing movement. And I know this is stretching it a bit to correct some tax inequalities throughout our whole system. So I fully support doing something with the airport. And I like this approach where we ask people, hey, we got this piece of land. Bring us forward proposals. And so that's where I am.
Thank you for that. Anything further from members of council? All in favor? Opposed? None, no.
Just want to help you know that you have a counselor that doesn't have a video.
Oh,
On
okay. Sorry, Counselor Kylie, if you could turn on your video so that we can see you voting, that would be greatly appreciated.
I'm having some issues trying to do that. I'll keep trying.
Yeah, so can you voice yay or nay on that last vote, please?
I'm sorry?
Can you voice yay or nay for the last vote?
Yay.
You, sir, item carried unanimous. Thank you. Item number 9, members' motions. There are none this evening. Item number 10, reading and consideration of bylaws. 10.1, bylaw number 25-067, delegating general and lame duck powers to CAO. Moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first and second time, bylaw number 2567, being a bylaw to delegate administrative powers to the chief administrative officer.
Any questions or comments on that item? None noted. All in favor?
Yay.
Okay, so item all in favor was answered. Opposed? Item carried. Next item.
It's the same item, just
Yeah.
third reading.
Yeah, I don't know how to word that. Third reading of that item. Yeah, smooth, very smooth. Moved by Councillor Casey Owens, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a third time and numbered, passed, signed and sealed, bylaw number 2567.
All in favor?
Yay.
Item carried. Item number 10.2, bylaw number 25-068, executing notice of easement KL landfill, moved by Councillor Shava, seconded by Councillor Casey Owens.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first and second time, bylaw number 2568, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an easement in contaminant attenuation zone over lands located at the Kirkland Lake landfill for the management of septic waste generated by private operation.
Questions or comments on that item? None noted. All in favor?
Yay.
Item opposed? Okay. Item carried unanimous on that one.
Point of order.
Okay,
I didn't understand that we were doing the third reading, right, and I voted for it, and I wanted. I thought we were on
Okay.
to the next,
so, I did understand, and I, at the time, of vote, I did write down carried rather than unanimous.
okay,
So I do appreciate that you noted, because, yeah,
thank you.
okay, perfect. So moving on to the third reading of item, bylaw 25-068, moved by Councillor Shava, seconded by Councillor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a third time and numbered, passed, signed and sealed, bylaw number 2568.
All in favor?
Yay.
Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item 10.3, bylaw number 25-069, establishing TDCAC 2026 to 2029 terms of reference, moved by Councillor Casey Owens and seconded by Councillor Rick Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first and second time, bylaw number 2569 being a bylaw to adopt the Temiskaming District Joint Compliance Audit Committee's 2026-2029 terms of reference.
Any questions or comments on that item? None noted. All in favor? Opposed?
Yay.
Thank you. Opposed? Item carried unanimous. Third reading of bylaw number 25-069, moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Casey Owens.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a third time and numbered, passed, signed, and sealed. Bylaw number 2569.
All in favor?
Yay.
Item carried unanimous. Working through it. Item number 10.4, bylaw number 25-070, establishing and appointing membership 2026 to 2029 TDCAC, moved by Counselor Rick Owen, seconded by Counselor Ranger.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first and second time. Bylaw number 2570 being a bylaw to establish and appoint the 2026 through to 2029 Temiskaming District Joint Compliance Audit Committee.
Any questions or comments on that? None noted. All in favor?
Yay.
Item carried unanimous. Third reading of bylaw number 2025-070, moved by Counselor Casey Owens, seconded by Counselor Shava.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a third time and numbered, passed, signed, and sealed. Bylaw number 2570.
All in favor?
Yay.
Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 11, notices of motion. Counselor Casey Owens.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I've got two of them tonight. So the first is snow removal operations in school zones for 2025-26 snow season. And the second one is prohibition of heavy equipment and equipment, oh, yeah, sorry, during school peak times and school zones for the 25-26 snow removal season.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? None noted. Item number 12, council reports and committees of council and local regional board updates. Moved by Counselor Duncan, seconded by Counselor Owen, and anything to report, members of council? Counselor Owen.
Yeah, just gotta get organized too. I recently attended the District of Temiskaming Social Service Administrative Board meeting. During which we got an update on the reserve funds that the board has. This is an annual process that the DSAB treasurer does prior to us working on the budget, which we will start working on next month. In total, for discretionary reserve funds for specific uses, DSAB reports that it has $6.9 million. And that's for vehicles, equipment, housing, services. And housing services is the largest reserve fund of $4.4 million, which sounds like a lot of money. But in actual fact, that works down to the reserves work down to $7,300 per unit that DSAB owns. And anybody that's had any work done on their houses or done the work themselves, or anybody that's been involved in the rental market, realize that you're gonna have constant expenses, and the expenses are going up all the time. I just got a quote from a contractor for a small job repairing a leak in a roof. And the ballpark figure was $5,000. So 7,300 is not a lot per unit. They often spend a lot more than that when a problem, I don't know, when they hard to deal with tenant moves out. Okay, with the reserves, they are, DSAP has a policy concerning how much reserves they have to have. And, they have reserves for, I believe it's 3 to 4 months is where they have to keep the reserves, 3 or 4 months total operations. And where they're sitting right now is within that, about the middle of that 3 to 4 months. And it's also below what the provincial regulations allow. So the treasurer reported that it is, she did not recommend drawing from the reserves again this year to decrease the amount that will be charged to municipalities to keep the DSAP going. And I have been successful in the last 2 to 3 years in getting reserves used or getting the amount used increased, which we've benefited from, but ultimately we can't continue to do that for them to function within and provide all the programs that they function. So it's always a difficult situation when you sit on a board like this, because when you're on the board, you're representing that board. But at the same time, you're trying to keep in mind what is best for the municipality. And I do not foresee us taking a deep, when I say us, I mean DSAP, withdrawing money from reserves this year. So I anticipate that our increase that we will have to pay will be considerably more than we faced in the last 3 years. So I know that's not good news, but it's the best I have, except for go Blue Jays, go.
Thank you for that. Anything further from members of council? Councillor Shabba?
So you, Mayor, can I ask any question?
Yeah.
About this report? Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe I should preface this by saying back in the days when I was the chair of the defunct Timiskaming Housing Authority, we had a push to at least use any extra money that we have, get some more to build, I won't call it low income housing, but medium income housing, geared, thank you very much, that's the term, geared towards housing. So, I mean, personally, any surplus from that organization, instead of giving it back to the respective communities, I would like them to do something like maybe on the housing side of things, maybe it's not a mandate anymore, I don't know. So my question to you is that, has there been any talk from your organization to at least begin to look at getting funding, to build geared towards income housing? Because the government is saying the municipality have to build low income housing, or I tell you one thing, investors will not come to town here and build low income housing or geared towards income housing, they're not gonna do that, because they wanna make money. The only people that can actually do that would be DSAP or maybe, well, we're now DSAP now, we don't have housing authority alone. So my question again is that all of that, is there any thought about at least putting money aside to at least look at putting up geared towards income housing in our area? Thank you very much. If you cannot answer, that's fine. I know you don't represent the board.
No, but, and I'm not like totally into the weeds here, but DSAB, I think, has 4 different categories of housing. One is, rent geared to income. One is, I don't know, subsidy. Anyways, I think there's 3 or 4, different types of housing that the rent is based on. And currently, DSAB is developing plans for additional housing in and I have to be careful here because of in cameras and stuff. But currently, I think I can publicly say that they are in the plans to develop, are in the process of developing plans for some additional housing in the Timiskaming Shore area. They rely heavily on provincial grants as well. And so, which is good for us because ultimately they wouldn't be able to build any housing. if you want to know more details, I suggest that you either call Mark Stewart at DSAB
No, I'll go to the board.
or Steve Cox. Because Steve Cox is their housing manager and he could get into the weeds with you on the different types of housing.
Thank you for that conversation.
Yeah, so,
Counselor
so my
Shabbat?
report, yeah, okay, you, again, I just have to, bring the good news about these, activities that we see in town. Roads, it's been a while, the paving, whatnot, I know I did say that last time, but again, you know, when you go places and people are telling you again and again and again, I said, well, I'm gonna say that again and again at the, at the council meeting, because we always talk about the bad here, but there, again, everybody is very, the outlook is very positive. You know, actually, personally, I try to go out of my way to drive on the new pavement on my way home. So, it is, it's very good to see that. Again, people are not really, maybe, I know we post a lot of information online, there are a lot of people that are not really checking everything out online. Maybe I will encourage the, administration to once in a while just, tell people the progress of the work, especially in Chapious. Where, you know, the end is almost inside paving and all of that, maybe there's a way to at least tell people that, well, it's almost close to the end. I know probably on the website, you probably tell me that anyway, so somewhere. But it's a lot of people don't frequent that, you know, and there's a way to communicate, so maybe once in a while we just tell people. People are getting very anxious and, a lot of frustration, well, you live over there for you, so, so maybe we can get the word out, you know, that part is almost wrapped up. In maybe another meeting to just summarize what's going on, when it's gonna end, and all of that, so people we will have that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? Okay, for my part, I did support community members attending a recent rally with John Vantoff, MPP. I continued my series of visits to classes at Central School and really hope all schools take advantage of the opportunity to invite myself or any other member of council to their classes or larger school events, or if their budget or curriculum supports, to bring their classes for a tour of town hall. I did have a first look at draft budget 2026 for the town of Kirkland Lake capital and operational finances. Because I did choose to require our community to meet the February 1st deadline as stated in the strong mayor powers, the next budget has now become the mayor's budget, resulting in the opportunity for myself to be in the room when directors discuss their budgets with CAO and treasurer moving forward throughout the process. I imagine it to be very reminiscent of the exercise we went through last term at our first budget, where there was 14 meetings and 328 pages of line items. I fancy that that's kind of what it's gonna look like. At this time, I have not given any further explicit directions regarding financial matters beyond the deadline and the 3-year capital budget planning, but instead have chosen to support our hired experts as they navigate the budget process. Council held their first town hall meeting on the 9th of this month, in which 5 community members chose to speak on a variety of topics. I do thank community members that took time out of their days to come and speak directly with us. After the meeting, I did reach out to the principals of elementary schools in the area to seek their input. The common themes of lack of sidewalk clearance leading to several of the schools, snow being pushed by town equipment onto fencing, and the timing of snow poles, of course, were a theme throughout the community, in all these elementary school areas. So, I am confident due to the health and safety nature and now the motion, by Councillor Casey Owens that CAO Smith and Director Forte are working on solutions to those issues. OPP Detachment Board held their first meeting in which Dixit Patel was elected, chair and Chief Wayne Wabi is vice chair respectively. The board needs a part-time administrator as well as community and provincial appointees to fill positions on that board. The Planet Youth Campfire at Civic was postponed due to weather. However, the drop zone in the basement of the stove, which is spearheaded by volunteer members of Kale Pride, provided a safe and dry space for youth to gather that evening with activities and food. Just a reminder that Planet Youth goal is for the community and district to help children grow up in safe, supported, and substance-free using strategies that enabled Iceland to decrease overall substance use for their youth from 42% in 1997 to only 5% of their youth using in 2022. Those strategies will require buy-in not only from the volunteers and administrators directly involved with Planet Youth, but from all of us, modeling positive behaviors and reinforcing the belief that youth should not be partaking in substance use and not normalizing those behaviors. We did have a library meeting surrounding a large issue, which is the flat roof. This is an ongoing issue for many, many years. And because we have made multiple attempts at small fixes over the years, it has now been decided that fundraising will be required to raise the amount needed to replace the roof on that building. KDCDC lunch and annual AGM we received the 2024-2025 annual report. Kirkland and District Community Development Corporation is a strong source of support for local businesses. Last year, 17 local businesses received assistance either to launch, expand, or maintain their operations, including 6 in Black River Matheson area, 4 in Kirkland Lake area, 2 in Englehart area, 1 in both Larder Lake and McGarrion area, and 3 in unorganized townships. And lastly, I had interviews with CTV News and Globe and Mail regarding issues of local interest. Maintaining a strong relationship with the media and being featured around the province is vital to our economic development and tourism in our community. Thank you for indulging me in that. All in favor to receive reports? Opposed?
Yay.
You opposed? None noted. Item number 13, proclamations and recognitions, moved by Councillor Dyken, seconded by Councillor Owens. Vanessa. Go, read it first. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Okay. Whereas each year Canadians take the time to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And whereas annually, citizens nationwide formally pause on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month to remember those who trained and fought for our country, with some paying the ultimate sacrifice, some coming home whole, and others not so fortunate. And whereas in this year, the town of Kirkland Lake hereby declares November 5th to the 11th as Remembrance Week, to remember those who fought and died for Canada. And whereas during Remembrance Week, we honor and pay our respects to those who fought and died, those who came home broken in body and in spirit, and those who continue to fight for peace and freedoms we enjoy. And whereas Indigenous peoples have a long history of military service, including contributions to the First and Second World Wars, Korean War, and continuing today. Their contributions help protect the peace and freedom enjoyed in Canada and countries around the world. And whereas November 8th is recognized as Indigenous Veterans Day to commemorate the bravery, courage, service, and sacrifice of Indigenous veterans. And whereas during Remembrance Week, everyone is encouraged to support their local Royal Canadian Legion branch and wear a poppy in remembrance of the fallen. And whereas the town of Kirkland Lake recognizes the bravery, courage, and sacrifices of all Canadian veterans, whether on current peacekeeping missions, here at home, assisting in search and rescue, or assisting with natural disasters across the country and international, with continued honor for those who are serving and their families. Now, therefore, I, Stacey White, Mayor of the town of Kirkland Lake, do hereby proclaim November 5th to the 11th, 2025 as Remembrance Week, and do by here proclaim November 8th, 2025 as Indigenous Veterans Day in the town of Kirkland Lake.
be it resolved that council sanction the proclamations of Remembrance Week and Veterans Day.
All in favor?
Yay.
Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 14, additional information and mayor's provincial policy matters. There are none this evening. We'll now take a 10-minute recess before moving into close. Thank you, everyone. We're now reconvening recess to move into closed session. Moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Casey Owen.
Be it resolved. Be it resolved that council adjourn in camera at 5:50 PM pursuant to section 239(2) of the municipal act 2001 as amended to discuss a proposed or pending acquisition, disposition of land by a municipality or local board, trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or legal labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which, if disclosed, could reasonably interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group, or persons or organization, and a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board for the following reason. Item 13.1, request to declare mining claim L 5941 North Park mining claim L 2880 and lots 1 to 57 of plan M 147T as surplus land direct sale.
All in favor? Counselor Kylie? I apologize, Counselor, you are on mute.
Yay.
Thank you, sir. All opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. You will now reconvene to open session, moved by Counselor Shabba, seconded by Counselor Janice Ranger.
Be it resolved that council reconvene in open session at 6:32 PM.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item number 16, any items of pecuniary interest arising from closed? None noted. Item 16.1, request to declare mining claim L 5941 North Part mining claim L 2880 and lots 1 to 57 of plan M 147T as surplus land direct sale. Item 4.1, moved by Counselor Owens, seconded by Counselor Owen.
Be it resolved that report number D 2025 DEV. 2025 DEV 30 entitled request to declare mining claim L 5941 North Park mining claim L 2880 and lots 1 to 57 of plan M 147T as surplus lands direct sale be received, and that council hereby declare the following municipally owned lands as surplus. 1 mining claim L 5941 parcel 11314 SEC CST. 2 lot 1 to 57 plan M 147T parcel 5906 SEC CST, and 3 North Park mining claim L 2880 parcel 8677 SEC CST. And finally, that in accordance with subsection 71410(1) of the town sale of and other disposition of land policy DEV 2024-001, council authorized that a bylaw declaring the above noted land surplus be given 3 readings on October 21st, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Item 16.2, bylaw number 25-071, declaring certain land surplus, expedited process, direct sale. Moved by Counselor Ranger, seconded by Counselor Owen.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first and second time, bylaw number 2571, being a bylaw to declare certain lands as surplus, expedited process, direct sale.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. Third.
He's pretty.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, what is happening? Yeah.
No, I just
okay.
wanted to bring.
Yes, okay. Okay, sorry, third reading of bylaw number 25-071, moved by Counselor Ranger and seconded by Counselor Kylie.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a third time and numbered, passed, signed, and sealed, bylaw number 2571.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Item number 17, notices of reconsideration. Does any members wish to have any items passed during this meeting reconsidered? None noted. Item number 18, confirmation bylaw, 18.1 bylaw number 25-072, confirming proceedings of council, moved by Councillor Casey Owens, seconded by Councillor Janice Ranger.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first and second time, bylaw number 2572, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its regular meeting held Tuesday, October 21st, 2025.
All in favor? Opposed? None noted. Item carried unanimous. I do move for adjournment, seconded by.
Second.
Hmm?
We were in a seconder for the third reading.
Yeah.
Oh, for thanks. Third reading. It's a new process. Moved by Councillor Ranger, seconded by Councillor Dykens. Thank you.
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a third time and numbered, passed, signed, and sealed, bylaw 2572.
All in favor? Opposed? Item carried unanimous. Now I move for adjournment, seconded by Councillor Dykens. Thank you, one and all. I do appreciate your patience with the new process.